Right now at 10, federal funding is up in the air. What these cuts could mean for infrastructure projects here in Madison. Also, concerns continue to rise over the bird flu, the recent sighting of a sick bobcat that has the DNR here on edge. And the free agency period is almost open for the NFL. We'll hear from our Packers expert on the impact this could have on the team. That's all coming up on News 3 Now at 10. Good evening, and thanks for joining us, everyone. I'm Sarah Carlson. Eric Franke is off for the night. You're likely used to seeing construction in downtown Madison, whether it be on John Nolan Drive, lots for affordable housing, or along the bus rapid transit routes. But with federal funding in constant flux, our Maddie Heimsch takes a look around Madison to check on the status of city projects.
The Madison skyline is pretty regularly under construction, and those big city construction projects are pretty regularly funded in part with federal dollars. So what happens when those federal dollars become uncertain?
The large-scale tax cuts and then having to make spending reductions in the federal budget could put some pressure on projects like this.
City Finance Director David Schmidtke says federal funds are a relatively small part of the city budget, but they're critical in key areas.
These major infrastructure projects sometimes are beyond the capacity of local governments to do.
Schmidtke says large-scale city planning and development projects rely heavily on federal dollars, usually allocated years in advance.
The expectation is that those dollars will come through.
Phase 1 of the John Nolan Drive construction project, for example, received $1 million in county funds, $10.5 million from the city, and $42.6 million in federal dollars.
We're really heavily dependent on being able to move forward with that based on the commitment of the federal government to help finance it.
That makes potential spending cuts at the federal level a big concern.
Kind of affecting how we're able to make investments in those areas.
The second bus rapid transit route also in limbo.
That is primarily a federally funded project.
If the federal money is no longer available, I asked Schmidtke if the city's general fund could fill the gaps.
We're talking about the entire budget for 1 year for this one project. So I think the city's capacity and ability to do that, the same with most cities around the country, kind of need that support from the federal government.
And while we don't know whether or not that support will be revoked, Schmidtke says if it is, the consequences would be hard to bounce back from.
It's a process that's been set up and in place for many years that's kind of being disrupted at the moment.
Reporting in Madison, I'm Maddie Heimsch, News 3 Now.
Now, federal funding cuts could also impact the city's affordable housing initiatives, clean energy project, and existing transportation services. Well, it was a seasonably mild day outside, windy too, but a warm-up is on the way for the region again. Chief Meteorologist Alex Harrington is on the weather patio with more. Good to hear.
Yeah, and with a light jacket still at 10 o'clock at night, temperatures are still really mild, even though it's colder than where we were this time last night. We've got even warmer temperatures on the way, and it's still mild out here right now. 57 for high temperature Wednesday, 64 Thursday, and all the way up to 72 looking at the forecast. We might even be mid-70s on Friday before temperatures take a crash behind a strong weather system. But then we warm back up again next week. Where you see all this purple, all this blue, I don't show this map that much. It shows that we're 20 degrees colder than where we were last night. Now let's look at the actual temperatures. They're in the 30s to near 40. That means temperatures are 20 degrees warmer at this point. Last night in the 50s to right around 60 degrees. So just unprecedentedly warm still, even now with us being colder. 34 in Madison, around 40 in southwest Wisconsin. Normal highs are right around 40 degrees. Here in Dane County, a lot of 37s out there, 35 in Oregon. Cold spot, 33, Sun Prairie to the northeast on 151. Again, 34 at the airport. The winds that you were saying, Sarah, were strong, and they have eased up east at 7 right now as we take a live look at our first warn weather cam showing here at Edgewater. Still ice on the lake, but that ice is going to be jeopardized by the warm temperatures on the way. And with those warm temperatures brings the chance of thunderstorms, some of which could be strong. We track that line with an updated future track weather model coming up in a little bit in Maine Weather.
Sounds good. Thank you, Alex. A Madison man is officially charged in a deadly crash on Madison's west side. 20-year-old Ryan Bertrand is charged with first-degree reckless homicide, homicide by intoxicated use of a vehicle, first-degree recklessly endangering safety, and 2 counts of operating while intoxicated, causing injury. This deadly crash happened last Thursday at the intersection of South Gammon and Raymond Roads. According to the criminal complaint, Bertrand told police that he had been drinking all day. Police say he was driving at speeds near 90 miles per hour on Raymond Road just before crashing into that other vehicle. 1 person in the other vehicle died at the scene. 3 others, including 2 children, suffered non-life-threatening injuries. The lead veterinarian and facility manager of Ridgeland Farms dog breeding facility will keep his license. Today, in front of Wisconsin's Veterinary Examining Board, Richard Vandemelen laid out why he should keep his license to practice. Now, he's been the staff veterinarian at Ridgeland Farms since 2006. Vandemelen, along with the farm, have been publicly criticized for many years, all surrounded claims made by animal rights activists and former employees.
The animal extremist groups are using this as yet another tactic in their 8-year campaign to close Ridgeland Farms.
If having 2 former employees both testify under oath to witnessing the mutilation of hundreds, if not thousands, of dogs over the course of decades that were supposed to be under the care of this veterinarian, if that's not enough to warrant the revocation of that veterinarian's license, I would just ask what is.
Well, the board did move to adopt a stipulated agreement put forth by Vandemelen's attorney, but that has not been shared with News 3. Currently, the La Crosse County District Attorney has been appointed special prosecutor to investigate animal cruelty at that breeding facility. Well, a bobcat is making headlines after the Fitchburg Police Department responded to the sick animal you can see here in the middle of the road last weekend. Wildlife experts say they originally thought the bobcat was suffering from bird flu. Dane County Humane Society's Wildlife Center says after a rapid decline in its health, veterinarians had to make the decision to put the bobcat down.
USDA APHIS did come out to test and swab the bobcat to see if it was initially positive for avian flu. That result actually surprisingly came back negative. We were honestly very surprised.
The DNR tells News 3 they are planning to retest the bobcat before confirming those results. Whether the bobcat tests positive or negative, veterinarians say avian flu is still prevalent in Dane County. Bucks legend and owner Junior Bridgman has passed away. Bridgman's retired number 2 jersey hangs in Pfizer Forum, and he had returned to Milwaukee as an owner last September. Bridgman is survived by his wife and his 3 children, and he was 71 years old. Well, the Brewers are coming to WISC-TV and Television Wisconsin. Morgan Murphy Media is partnering with The Crew and Good Karma brands to bring you 13 Brewers games in Madison. In addition to 10 regular season games, we'll also be airing 3 spring training games as well. The first game is scheduled for this Saturday when the Brewers take on the Los Angeles Angels. First pitch is at 3:10. After spring training, we'll be broadcasting the home opener against Kansas City on March 31st. And tomorrow is the official start of the NFL's free agency period. Yesterday, the Packers announced they are signing former 49ers guard Aaron Banks to a 4-year, $77 million deal. Also, cornerback Nate Hobbs to a 4-year, $48 million deal. We sat down with News 3 Packers expert Jason Wilde to hear how these players will impact the team.
If you were a Packers fan who was hoping for, a big cannonball splash into the free agent pool, this wasn't it, right? It wasn't Josh Jacobs from last year. It wasn't Xavier McKinney from last year. But what it is are 2 signings that fit really clear needs for this team. They needed to upgrade their offensive line. They got it with the best guard on the market. So they needed corner help, and Hobbs is a big athletic corner who can play inside and outside. They seem like really good fits.
The Packers do need a couple more pieces, including a receiver and another pass rusher. You can find our full interview with Jason Wilde on channel3000.com. Still to come on News 3 Now at 10, a federal agency is making a call for action to avoid more mid-air collisions near our nation's capital. And cooler heads prevail, the de-escalation of the current trade war between Canada and the Trump administration.
You're watching watching News 3 Now at 10.
Welcome back. Leaders in Ottawa, Canada and the Trump administration have walked back an escalating trade war. Talks have also started to try and bring an end to the Russia-Ukraine war. Erica Brown reports on the day's developments from Capitol Hill.
In another reversal, President Trump pulled back on his threat to double steel and aluminum tariffs for Canada after the province of Ontario backed down from a 25% surcharge on electricity sold to the U.S.
We have both agreed. Let cooler heads prevail. We need to sit down and move this forward.
Trump says his threats of tariffs are productive despite the stock market's reaction with steep losses, with the Dow falling more than 2.5% since Thursday. At a meeting of the country's leading CEOs, Trump said tariffs will eventually bring money back to the U.S.
The tariffs are having a tremendously positive impact. They will have, and they are having.
Commerce Secretary Howard Lutnick brokered the deal with Ontario's premier and dismissed the idea that Trump's fluctuating trade policies are leading to chaos.
He needed to break some guy in Ontario who said he was going to tax American energy 25%. The President of the United States in the White House says, "Oh, no, you won't."
The Trump administration has also agreed to resume military aid and intelligence sharing with Ukraine, as the country says it's open to a 30-day ceasefire in its war with Russia.
I've been saying that Russia's been easier to deal with so far than Ukraine, which is not supposed to be the way it is, but it is, and we hope to get Russia.
Secretary of State Marco Rubio led talks with Ukrainian officials in Saudi Arabia and will present the limited ceasefire proposal to Russia. And as the Trump administration continues to push to slash the size of government, the Department of Education announced a 50% reduction in its workforce. Erica Brown, CBS News, Capitol Hill.
Also this evening, the House narrowly approved a GOP continuing resolution that would keep the government running through September. However, the legislation's fate is still uncertain in the Senate. The National Transportation Safety Board is urging immediate action to avoid another mid-air disaster at Reagan National Airport. This comes as a result of the crash in January over the Potomac River that killed everyone aboard a passenger jet, as well as 3 people on a helicopter as that plane was preparing to land. The NTSB says between October of 21 and December of 24, there were more than 15,000 instances of helicopters being in close proximity to planes at the airport. Helicopters have been flying as close as 75 feet away from commercial planes. The NTSB is urging the FAA to permanently prohibit helicopter operations on that route when the 2 nearby runways are being used for departures and landings. Well, turning to weather now, a warm-up is on the way again with a chance of some temps making it all the way into the 70s. Love the first time we get to say that.
Yes.
Alex Harrington has a look at the forecast.
It's in the forecast. It's right around the corner, Sarah. Here's your day. Friday, 72, although I'm updating my forecast here. We're going to go for 74 for high temperature on Friday in Savannah. May alter those temperatures a bit in the morning, but also just take a look at this roller coaster ride that we have here. Sunday down to 37. That's actually right about normal, then back above normal again. And this is just a pattern that has repeated itself since the fall going into the winter, and now we're in the latter part of the winter. Look at this going back to the end of February. Temperatures way above normal, 10 to 20 degrees above normal. Then we had temperatures dipping to 10 degrees below normal as we rounded out February going into March. Back above normal, back down just slightly below normal. And then here's yesterday, Monday, 310, high temperature all the way up to 67 degrees. And then again, we've got the 70s right around the corner. Still at 34 degrees outside. Our normal high is about 40 for this time of year. So very mild, relatively speaking, as we look at our first warn weather cam, which will come in probably very handy as we go into Friday evening with that line of thunderstorms. First, tonight, temperatures in the upper 20s to right around 30 degrees with relatively clear to partly cloudy skies. That heat goes out to space, but these temperatures in the upper 20s, that's still 10 degrees above normal for this time of year. Then we see temperatures pushing nearly 20 degrees above normal again on Wednesday. Probably few complaints, approaching 60 out towards the Mississippi River. We'll do 57 here in Madison. And that's the nice stuff, the sunny stuff, the mild stuff. Now we're going to talk about the stormy stuff as we go into Friday. Alert day conditions, which we started talking about way last week, could be a distinct possibility eyeing up Friday evening going into Friday night for a line of thunderstorms across southern Wisconsin, especially from the Dells to Madison to Janesville and areas towards the west. The storms will develop in Iowa and race rapidly towards the north and towards the east, posing primarily a strong wind threat. Even if the thunderstorms weaken some and it's more showers with embedded thunderstorms, there's still likely going to be gusty winds with this line. Knocking on the door here at 10 o'clock, right about this time Friday night, stretching from Boscobel to Mineral Point to Monroe, rapidly moving in and having almost an arc type shape. That's usually an indicator that this line is likely going to have, again, strong gusty winds. It moves through a few showers as we go into Saturday morning, and maybe some redevelopment of showers and a couple isolated thunderstorms as the final cold front sweeps through as we go a little bit later into Saturday afternoon. Quarter to half inch, it's the speed of the showers and storms that will hold down some on overall precipitation amounts. Hopefully we can get this quarter to half inch, maybe 3/4 of an inch of water, and hopefully with this line coming through after 10 p.m. that limits the severe weather threat. We don't need the severe weather, but we can take the water with our drought conditions. As we head out beyond the set of alert day conditions, heading out towards St. Patrick's Day, around 50, and then another weather system by the middle of next week with unseasonably warm temperatures. Before we did any forecasting today, before we did any graphics, I was out today at Glenn Stevens Elementary School talking to the kindergarten classes. We talked about my life as a TV meteorologist, severe weather season, and no trip could be without the famous, there we go, there's the pepper tornado that always seems to be a hit there. And I also talked about how I match my frames to match the forecast. Look at all of their art, Channel 3 art there, Alert Day art. Couldn't have a better welcome at Glenn Stevens Elementary class. Thanks for having me out, and I think they also have something they want to say to all of you. And there you go. You got to see them on TV. Thanks again so much for having me out.
And coming up in sports, all Big Ten honors for John Tonje. What the Badger guard had to say about his new award. That's next on News 3 Now. It's been a weekend of celebration for the Wisconsin women's hockey team. Saturday won their second straight WCHA tournament title, and then on Sunday, the Badgers found out they were the top overall seed in the NCAA tournament. Now, as far as who they'll play on Saturday with a spot in the Frozen Four on the line, that's to be determined. It will either be Clarkson or BU, but they won't find out until Thursday night.
A little more challenging when you have two teams that you have to look at, but it's a good position to be in, and then it's just, trying to get players refocused after, the celebration Saturday afternoon, the bus ride home.
The only thing is we'll have to watch film a little bit later than usual, or we'll just watch film on both teams before. But yeah, in terms of preparation, not much changing. We're just taking care of ourselves.
Before the season, John Tonje was rated as the 296th player in the transfer portal. Turns out he was a little better than that, and the conference has taken notice. After averaging nearly 19 points and 5 rebounds per game, Tonje earned a unanimous spot on the All-Big Ten first team. He's the first Badger to garner first-team honors since Johnny Davis did it back in the 2021-22 season.
It's definitely a blessing, to be in that position and get to represent the university like how I get to, and I think it is a team award.
That example speaks more words than I can throw into it, just because you see somebody take a jump like he's taken and become, one of the more recognized players in the country.
Good news heading to Indy after missing Wisconsin's last 3 games. Max Klesmit practiced yesterday and today, and in his words, he's feeling good and going to play on Thursday. Greg Gard reiterated that and knows just how important having his veteran leader back in the lineup will be for this team.
It's a big piece of this team. It's an important piece just because of how this group has all come together. So when you pull one of those cogs out, it has an impact. It's important for us going forward to have him back, because it's when we're whole and we're healthy, we're a good team.
Bucks taking on the Pacers in a big game in the Eastern Conference in terms of the standings. Giannis and company up 3 with 3.9 seconds to go, and Tyrese Halliburton dials one out from deep and gets fouled in the process. The old 4-point play gives the Pacers the lead, and that'd be your ball game. Bucks fall 115 to 114. We're back after this.
Tonight,
make America affordable again, or man. And soon that is the sound you'll make when you open your electric bill. Man!
All new CBS tonight.
And on News 3 Now this morning, tomorrow, the Shamrock Shuffle is returning to Madison. This weekend, we'll sit down with the Boys and Girls Club of Dane County to see what impact that fundraiser has on local programs. And finally tonight, a rare clouded leopard cub. We're just going to call it a club. Has been born at the Nashville Zoo in Tennessee. Look how sweet. Having food out of the bottle. I just want to watch. Sorry, I can't read. Anyway, the female was born February 25th, is only 13 inches long from nose to tip of tail, and crawling on that sweet toy. Aw. Anyway, clouded leopards are native to the tropical lowlands of Southeast Asia, and there are around 10,000 left in the wild. They're so elusive it's hard to get an actual count. But just show me another close-up of the club.
That's when they're tiny and really cute until they turn into the big cat.
Yeah, then they're not so cute. So one last look at the forecast. We've got another decent day tomorrow.
Decent day tomorrow, decent day on Thursday, decent day even on Friday. Temperatures getting up into the low to mid 70s. It's Friday night that we need to really keep an eye out for as a line of thunderstorms moves through southern Wisconsin. Will come out of Iowa, and that line of thunderstorms could potentially pose the potential for some severe weather. Best storm chance is going to be after 10 p.m. on Friday. Strong winds would be the main threat. But because the line is coming through late at night, luckily, hopefully that will be a weakening so that to limit the severe weather threat. But we need the rain too. So unfortunately, that comes with the threat.
It is. But it keeps you busy and comes and goes.
Keeps us busy, yes.
Thanks everybody for watching.